morning, community. This is Phyllis Jones from Kids Community Connections at 103.1. And as you know, my brain is probably cold. I'm enjoying this weather. I was loving driving down here, watching some of the snow on the grass. I was like, yes! I was the only one saying yes. I think some people weren't. And I drove past and I was watching some cars with icicles on them. I was like, I haven't seen that since I was at home. So it was really exciting for me. Yes, I'm crazy. I'll admit that. But this morning, I am the guest and the host, only because I had somebody from Carlson's law firm. She was coming over. She let me know that her babysitter has the flu and her kids are catching it, so we don't want her here. We want her to stay home and get well. And she'll come back at another time when she can come. But you know what? This morning, we're going to talk about a whole lot of things because there's so much to talk about until we could be sitting here till, as I call it at school, Juvember. We could be talking about what's going on and the craziness that's going on in our area. First thing I want to talk about is the lovely blackface paint. And people are assuming that it's cute and that it's funny. And it isn't. It's a direct slap in the face to a lot of people, but more so to African Americans, because it's painting a jokingly picture that we're, silly, stupid, crazy, and only know how to be a fool. Because blackface is basically just that. It's showing you how foolish you can be and how foolish you thought of is from other people. I myself, like many others, when we heard this week about some politicians doing blackface to imitate moonwalking with Michael Jackson and all those things like that. They thought it was cool and they thought it was funny at the time, but they realized that a lot of us didn't think it was cool and we didn't think it was funny at that time, and at no time has it ever been cool and funny because we know where it came from. Before blackface, we know it wasn't born, what you want to call it? It was born to do what it did. Minstrel shows is what the shows were called. And that's when they had the blackface, to act like, I'll put it this way, Africans they thought would act, and to be the silliness and the craziness that they wanted to portray. Because, if I want to keep you down, if I really want to keep you down, all I got to do is appear to make you as a joke. And once everybody thinks it's you as a joke, then everything you do will be funny. Nothing you do will be taken seriously. So the minstrel shows did just that. And eventually the minstrel shows, they changed and they became where black folks were actually, playing in the minstrel shows, but their faces painted also. And they did it because you might say they did it because they were a sellout. No, most majority of them did it because they were forced to. It was because they were forced to do that. That wasn't something that they enjoyed or that anybody enjoyed. It was something that they had to do. And some of them did it simply because there was a paycheck. They got paid for that. They didn't get paid much for it, but they got paid for it. So we can't say they did because they loved it. No, that's not true. They didn't love it. They didn't like it, but it was something that they had to do. Like I said, first they were forced to do it, and later on they got paid to do it. And some actually figured, okay, I can make a little extra money doing this. Let me do it. But by all means, did we ever think it was funny? By all means, never did we think it was cute. And we didn't participate in it because it wasn't something that proudly we should be participating in. And myself, like I said, I totally disagree with that because there's no use for it. There was no reason for it. And back in those days, it was done then. But for somebody to do it in these times, you know exactly what they think. They let you know what they were thinking. And you can't say I did it then and that was then. No, it's kind of your mindset and your framework because you know what? There's no way in the world today you're going to get me to paint my face and portray anybody because I am me. And that's how I'm going to stay. But for that person to do what he did to politicians, I'm not going to name names because we know who it was, for them to have done that, I think that it was a disgrace to, first of all, it was a disgrace to us as African Americans, but it was also a disgrace to anybody else who saw it. And some of the people of that person's own race, decided that, hey, we can condone a whole bunch of things, but we can't condone that. That's one of the things that we can't do. And it's just ridiculously sad. And it's also ridiculously sad that first time the person said that wasn't me. Second time it is me. you can't go back and forth like that. I know our president does, but it doesn't go for everybody, so we shouldn't have done that either. But that was just a whole thing that happened, like I said, that shouldn't have happened. There was an awakening for us that it did. So that's our talk on the blackface paint issue. And also we learned this week that an actor, Liam Neeson, who decided, once again, decided that it was okay, cool for me to say this. So he stepped outside of himself. And what did he say? He said that a friend of his, female friend, was raped. And he was talking to her and he asked her who did it. And she didn't know who did it. But then he asked the next question about the rapist. And she said it was a black man. You know, so I'm going to stop right there with that to go back to talk about a little history. You know, years ago, the movie Rosewood, a white female told a lie on a black man, and what did they do? They went hunted down. They gave them an excuse. They went and hunted down any and every black person that they could to blame them for what one person did. So I'm going to stop for that, for one person said. So I'm going to stop there and go back. So when Liam Neeson's friend told him that the man who raped her was black, his first thought was to go out and kill any black man he saw. In fact, he was hoping to find any black man, not the black man who raped, any black man, and shoot him. Just any man. He said, now he claimed he only thought this for a week, really, for a whole week, really. You know, and he's comfortable. The bad thing is he's comfortable now saying that. He shouldn't be comfortable saying this. This should not be a comfort zone discussion. You know, he should be quite nervous about talking about this, but he isn't. He's quite comfortable about talking about it. You know, and which means that we've not grown any further than we thought we had, because we still got a person with that kind of mentality to say, I want to kill any black man. I don't even know how he's comfortable with saying it. Obviously he is, but I don't know how he's comfortable in even saying something like that, because then again, I'll say he should not be comfortable saying it. It should be a thought process of deciding whether to even say it or not, because me, myself, I can't figure out why he said it. I surely wouldn't say it. There's no way in the world I would say it. Come to those kind of terms. You know, I know people have done things wrong to me, and I've never thought about going to kill each and every white person, Hispanic person, any. I've never thought about, let me go shoot one of them and I'll feel happy. No, that's not it. You know, that is, I wouldn't think that of a person or a dog. And, you know, I'm not a dog lover. I can't stand dogs. But if one bit me, I'm not going to go around trying to kill all of them just for the one, because I couldn't find the one that bit me. It's not what I'm going to do. And like I said, I don't know how he felt comfortable saying that, but he did. Should his career hurt? Yeah, he should. He should have to pay for that, because that shouldn't have been a comforting thought that he had, but it was. So we've had a whole bunch of things happen in 1 week that certainly surprised us. But, you know, also what we learned this week is our Lieutenant Governor and our Secretary of State for Texas suddenly decided to let everybody know that 95,000 people over the last so many years have voted in the Texas election illegally. And they're saying that what they did was they took a list, compared it with the Department of Justice, and they also compared it with the Department of Motor Vehicles to come up with these 95,000 people that they claim voted illegally, and they were not United States citizens at the time. Well, first it came out, and it just came out, they were just the people. They were the people who did it. Then it changed. Naturally, it went down to, it was Hispanics. Then it changed again to Latinos. Okay, first of all, I didn't know there was a difference. I thought it was just one, but anyway, obviously I was wrong. So it became that. Well, now, LULAC has filed a suit against that, because everybody wants to know the list. Everybody wants to see the list that our Secretary of State is trying not to show. And I said that he's trying not to show this list. It's supposed to be a real big secret, but it's out there, whether he knows it or not. But anyway, so LULAC has filed a lawsuit against them, saying that this was, not fair, and they want to see the people on it. And incidentally, when they told you this, what they didn't tell you, this was over a 20-year period. See, they didn't tell you that part. They didn't say it was over a 20-year period. Only thing you knew was that it happened. So the first thought process of it was, it happened, and it happened, last year. But it was an over 20-year period. So LULAC asked the NAACP to sign in on it. And NAACP did because of one thing. We signed on because it's wrong all the way around to create laws and create things so that that targets a set of people and say, we're not going to let them vote. We're going to stop their vote simply because of this, and they can't prove it. Also, what NAACP thought about is the fact that you have more people here than Latinos or Hispanics. I think some of them are here without papers, you might as well say. You have people from Jamaica. You have people from Europe and a lot of places that don't have papers, or they're not citizens that are here that can be attacked. So we signed on that. But in the midst of all that, what happened was a couple of other things. If you remember, and if you think about it, I'm always telling you about what our legislators are doing and what they're up to. And I do it because we need to understand that no matter what we say, what we do, and how we think about it, there are keys to the way we live. They're the ones who decide whether we do have a job or not in the state of Texas. They decide all those things in the state of Texas that we tend to forget about, and we tend to say, oh, no. But they actually do. And we need to remember that, because during the time of this fight on the 95,000 people, supposedly, that voted, during the talk about all that, and our legislators are in session, and you remember they went into session January 1st, but with all that going on about that, what we found out was there were two bills that were passed January 1st that will make it now, this year, starting this year, when Hispanics or anybody of that descent registers to vote, they now got to prove with they have to go an extra step now with a document that says they're a United States citizen. So forget their showing their driver's license and only that. No, now they've got, and it was voted on. It was voted on while we weren't looking. It was voted on while we were forced to think about something else. And what I mean by forced is, the thing that always happens is this: when you're not, we know, when you're not looking, that's when they're working. And they're working based on the fact that nobody's paying attention to what we're doing. So we're going to do it. And guess what? We weren't paying attention, and they did. So there's two laws. There's a Senate bill and there's a House bill. And both of them are designed to say that before, I'll say, our Hispanic community and a couple other communities go and vote, they now got to prove that they're United States citizens. So that would mean they got to show their green card, or they got to show something to prove that they are here legally, by birth here legally, or, they got here and they are United States citizens and they're supposed to be here. But those things were passed before we found out about the 95,000 people. So think about it. The first week of January, two bills are passed where they got to show extra ID, that they're citizens, extra ID to show they were born here. But 2 weeks later, our Secretary of State comes up with these 98,000 people who registered to vote. If he wants us to believe that, then how did one come before the other? Is one of my questions. Is, how did first we vote on something that we didn't know about? And well, obviously we didn't, but somebody else did. And then all of a sudden there's a law with it. And then later we find out that this is what it really came from. That's unfair. It shouldn't be done. But guess what? Once again, we went to sleep and it happened. And these things happen because our attention is always diverted to something else. It is. Our attention is diverted somewhere else, and we allow it. We actually allow our attention to be diverted any direction that they want to. All people know, politicians especially, is if I put you, and I'm going to just say, if I have you focus on Donald Trump, and I got you ticked off at him, and I got you so hyped up about him, till in Texas, I'm going to do what I want to do, because I've got you focused on him. And I know as long as I keep saying what he's doing and showing you what you're doing, you're still going to be looking at him. You're not going to look at what Texas is doing. And that's what happened. See, we every day, I could sit down with I don't know how many people and we could discuss what our president is doing. But if I ask you what's Texas doing, you can't tell me. You don't know. it becomes, I don't know. I don't even care. Well, you care enough about that man you call president, but we don't care about what's going on in our own state when our own state is what affects us. What the president does and says of the United States does, and some of it affects us and most of it doesn't, because your governor of your state has a right to do or not do what he said. And listen to me again. The governor has that last choice. The governor can say, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. And we're simply not doing that. So there are a lot of things that your governor can say, we're not doing that. We're not. But we're not paying attention to it. Like I said, I can ask you every day what Trump is up to and you can tell me. But I ask you every day what state of Texas is up to and you give me the deer in the headlights look like, I don't know. Or either get the or I don't care. You know, was it on the news? Was it here? Was it there? No. Did I have to look for it? Yes. Did you look for it? No. So, you know, during this year, from now till April, we need to pay attention to what they're voting on and what's going on. Because like I said, they're voting on us. They're voting on our heads. And we're sitting back going, oh, okay, go ahead. Sure, I don't mind. And that's what we're doing. Sure, okay, go ahead. Vote. Yeah, we're all right with that. And then we wake up and find out, wait, how did it happen? Well, it happened because our focus was taken someplace else. And if you pay attention to everything that goes on in our world today, the biggest part what they do to you is send your vision and your thoughts in one direction. They keep you over there and they make sure you stay over there so that they can do what they need over here. Because it will say the left hand is doing everything it's got to do, but the right hand is being diverted someplace else. So it doesn't get able to touch what's going on. It doesn't get over there. So, you know, whenever your attention is diverted somewhere real strong or real hard, you need to look the other way and find out what else is going on. Because I guarantee you, when you look at what's going on in Texas, you'll see, okay, wait a minute. These things passed. Like I just told you, 2 bills passed to make it where people have to prove that they are United States citizens, which is their green card. They've got to prove it through birth certificates or whatever that they were born here. Because as we know, a lot of people were born here and they're citizens because of that. They were born here. But we've allowed our state government to come in and play that little game and change everything around. So now we're stuck with, how did that happen? We're stuck with, somebody should have told us. We're stuck with all those other things because, like I said, we were focused on that man called president. And while we're focused on that man called president, we didn't see what was going on. We let it go. So I'm going to say, while you do pay attention to what's going on with the president, because we want to, while we're watching all that, we need to also seriously be watching what our state is going to, what our government in Texas is going to do. What are they talking about? How are they focusing things? We need to find those things out. We need to know what it is because it affects us and it affects us today. All the rules and laws that are voted on, the bills that are voted on for our state this year will take effect in September of this year. Things that we don't know. Like I said, I told you a couple of years ago that it was now where if a man or female owes child support and they're behind, they can't get their vehicle registered. But when I said that, people, how did that pass? Because you sat back, you were asleep, and you let it pass. And I'll say you let it pass because I'm the political junkie and I'm the fighter. Whereas you might say I yell at my city council people, I'm telling you I fuss at the legislators because I grew up and learned to realize that they're the ones that are truly, truly, truly in control of how we do, what we do, when we do, and all those other things. So we need to start fighting the fight, paying attention. Like I said, stop letting somebody else divert our brain cells into a direction that they need us to be in and that we need to be in. You know, stop letting that happen. And we might become a better and stronger people. You know, there's always the ones that's going to say, well, you know, they won't let us do this. They won't let us do that. Then I'm going to ask you, have you ever let them know that you wanted them to do this and let them know? No, you didn't. So we sit back in our own comfort zone that we call home and we complain about what they're not doing, but we're not part of the process. You know, if you want change, you got to be part of the process of change. It might take you a little longer to get it done because you think none of these things that are passed was passed with an overnight thing, overnight thought or vision. I'm going to write this today and it's going to get passed tomorrow. No. Majority of these bills that are being passed right now, some of them were 2 sessions ago, which was 4 years ago. It's 2 sessions ago they were writing, and now they become to light as a part of a bill. I myself, I wrote a bill for pre-K to go to school all day, because that's my fight. In Killeen, we have pre-K all day only because Fort Hood pays the other half. That's it. That's the only reason we got it. But all kids need to have pre-K, and pre-K has been a proven fact of the success of children. Well, I've been fighting that fight for 2 sessions, but guess what? This session, it has a bill number. So am I happy? Yes. I mean, something me and a lot of people together were fighting now has a bill number, which means now it's going to go before the floor and it's going to be fought. But that only happened because we kept on and refused to let it die, and we refused to let it go away. So now it's coming to the floor. That's what things we need to be doing. No matter where you are, work for whoever, we need to be paying attention to what they're talking about. If you're on food stamps or whatever the new word for that is, you need to be paying attention to this session, because there's something in this session that's going to affect you. So you need to pay attention to it and find out what's going on. And, the fact of, I don't know how to find it, ask somebody. Ask somebody how to find out what's going on. Buy Sunday's paper. I'm going to say it. I know I might not supposed to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. Buy Austin Sunday paper. If you want to really know what's going on in the Capitol, buy Austin Sunday paper. You'll find out more and more and more and more to make you angry and upset enough to be there to go and find out what's going on. If you read Austin's paper, because there's so much in their Sunday paper, and lets us know what our state is doing. Not in our local paper, but it's in that one. But like I'm said again, we need to be sure that we're awake and that we're ready. And when these things come up, we need to vote on it. While they were talking about the blackface, made that headline news, and while we were talking about other crazy things, we were also learning about the priests. We were learning about all these priests are being caught with this, having sex with boys or girls or whatever. But at the same time, did we read about the priest that was actually trafficking nuns? Did we read about that? No, we're reading about something else, listening to something else to find out that we have priests that were sex trafficking nuns. Really? Come on, for real? Really? Yeah, but that's what's going on. Some of the things, those are some of the crazy, wild things that we let slip through our brain that are happening in our area. And I say our area, yes, our area, our Central Texas area. And I'm just saying that, while we're fussing about the person we call president and other crazy things, we need to focus on what's going on in our own area and our own community. Our young people are looking up to us to follow. And the young man was on my show last week. If you heard him, he made you want to get up and do stuff because he's up on it. And it's bad that he's up on it and we're not, because we're supposed to be leading him and he's leading us. No, we need to be leading him. We need to find more young men like him and pour into them to make sure that, they don't become relaxed like we are. And relaxed, like he said, they think we're in a comfort zone, and they don't understand why we're in a comfort zone. And we should not be comfortable right now. Not at all. Nowhere near. We should be enraged, and we should be ready for the mode of, and when I say fight mode, I don't mean beating anybody up. We need to be in the fight mode of telling our politicians what we want. Not asking them, because we ask them for stuff and it's not what they want to know. We need to start telling them what we want. And this is the time to do so right now. This is the time to take your vote that you voted on these people into action, to say, okay, now I voted, I put you in. This is what I want you to do. Here's the paperwork. Here's the this. Here's the that. We need to do that. We need to talk about, we have certain counties in Texas. And I'll say Harris County is the county that has the highest amount of African Americans in jail for bail. The highest count in the whole state is Harris County, followed by Bell County. Who can stop that? We can. Whose fault is that that's there? Our fault, because we didn't fight it. Why? Because we were told and busy having our vision taken someplace else, that we forgot that. We forgot that the most important person that we need to remove and make sure is off is your district attorney. Because that's where all this crazy bail stuff goes on in the district attorney's office. Who's the person we need to try to replace? Will be your district attorney. You know, people are talking about the city elections. I agree with that. City elections are important. Yes, they are. But on your county, it's your district attorney. You need to find out what's his brain like. Do you know how Henry Garza has been in office for a very long time in Bell County? You know, most of these district attorneys and our county person, they've been in office for a long time, and we haven't removed them. Yet, we still become some of the highest counties to have the highest number of people locked up for these low bail amounts. Low bail, low, real low. And if I've got you in jail and your bail is extremely low, I got you in jail, and I've helped you lose your job, and you're never going to be able to pay it. You know, now I'm at penalties to this bail that I put you in jail for. It's ridiculous, you know, but our district attorney is still there, and we haven't bothered to groom anybody and prepare them to take his place as we exit him out or her out. We need to do these things because, like I said, what time you wake up in the morning is controlled by your legislators. It is. It actually is. I don't care where you work at. The hours you work, the way you work, and if you will work or not is dependent upon them. We don't think about that. We don't pay attention to it. You look at some of the laws that they're going to be talking about this year. Like this year on the books, they're going to talk about whether we should have daylight savings time. For real? Really? You have a bunch of legislators that are working on a bill on should we have daylight savings time? Should we continue it? And to me, that's a wasted, devoted of time to talk about daylight savings time. I didn't know it was a big issue. I mean, we know why we have it, and every state does not have daylight savings time, so we know why it was put in place. But legislators going to actually spend time crafting a bill, hours and days of work on daylight savings time. Waste. To me, waste time. Just get rid of it. If you need to, just get rid of it. But we know who's going to fight forward, and we know who's going to fight against, and we know the winners and losers. But those are some of the things that they're going to be talking about in this session. And I know people are going to say what I do for a living they can't control it or change it. Yes, they can. They can tighten up the rules. Okay, we're on radio, and you figure the state can't do nothing to us because the radios, yes, they can. They can make laws a little harder. They can make companies a little tighter. They can, take upon, say, okay, instead of doing this, you are going to have to do that, which could cost money. So no matter what you do, you need to remember the legislators vote on it, and they vote on it for a long time. They don't vote on it for a couple of minutes. They vote on it for a longer period of time. And we need to let them know, same thing. I put you in, I can take you out. But they need to feel that you said that. They don't need you to walk up to them and say, well, if I elect you, I expect you to do that. No. When you get in, remind them, I put you in, I can take you out, and be ready to say, I want to know why you didn't do this. Hold them accountable. If Brad Buckley is my legislator, I've talked to him, but I'm going to hold him accountable. If I've got to email him, text him, however it is, I'm going to let him know and hold him accountable. Dude, I thought you was going to be pretty good. You end up, why'd you vote on this? Why'd you doing that? We need to do that and take back our control, because guess what? We surely gave it away real well. I'm going to take a break, and we're going to come back and talk about what's going on for the month of February.